first things first, boys, we got to talk about what happened over the weekend. And guys, there was a certain man by the name of Erling Haaland that made a big statement this weekend.
I like that you called us friends, though, because first of all, we are friends. Before any of this, the professionalism, we are friends. You know,
that is true.
Just wanted to start off by saying that.
We are
very sweet. What a nice call out. Wow.
And it's good we established that, right? Because people thought maybe they thought we don't like each other.
No, we do. We do like each other.
We do like each other.
Speaking of, we don't like each other a lot of times. And a lot of times it's true, but it always goes back to friendship.
Right. We argue a lot, but we are friends.
Yes,
that is true. Well, there's no arguing with one thing, and that is that Mr. Erling Haaland is on fire, boys. On fire. Another hat-trick this weekend for Man City. I don't know. I mean, have we seen something like this before?
I mean, there's probably some recency bias, but it's so hard to imagine someone so efficient. I mean, he did struggle a bit at times last year, but this year he looks like he's back to his best. I mean, the second goal is just, the finish is so quick, so clinical, and it's just so powerful, Roy.
Dude, he has, 70 goals now, Premier League? I think he just broke a record, if I remember correctly, a hat-trick record, which kind of leads to, I call it the Jesus Ferreira syndrome, where he scores against Ipswich Town, he scores against West Ham, and then he kind of gets real quiet when Champions League comes around. But yeah, I think against most, he's absolutely unstoppable. He is a beast. He's on wheels. He's a monster truck. He's incredible. He's too strong.
I think that's a fair criticism. It's a fair question, though. He sometimes does disappear in big games. He certainly did last year. And we don't really have the international barometer to judge him on because he hasn't done it with Norway. So, I mean, there are still some question marks. I mean, I've never seen a player this efficient. But again, it's just recency bias, maybe.
It is.
So that's the thing. Yeah. That's the thing I think about Roy. I keep thinking about, like, obviously he has good players around him. And look, some of these finishes are all Erling Haaland. Like, you look at the second goal, that's all Erling Haaland, right?
Oh, it's fantastic.
But it helps to have, you know, Bernardo Silva around you. It helps to have players who can actually get you the ball in right positions, right?
Yeah, and he's kind of, you watch his progression over the last few years. One of his biggest criticisms was he wasn't necessarily creating his own chances. He was finishing chances. He was finishing pin perfect pin drop passes to his right foot, but he wasn't necessarily creating great chances. He created a couple in this past game. And I feel that as a player, he's evolving in that he doesn't require absolutely pin drop perfect passes to score. He kind of proved that last week. But the big question is, does he do it when he doesn't have the phenomenal players around it? Does he do it for Norway? Because he hasn't, to Rocky's point. Does he do it in Champions League against Barcelona or against Real Madrid?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Can he carry a team is the question. And that's what he has to do for Norway. And that'll be interesting because you're right. I think he's starting to create, but he finishes chances that, you know, there's still chances, right? But what he does is he takes a chance that's maybe like for other forwards is a 60% chance, right? Oh, not a half chance, maybe a little more than a half chance, and he makes it a certainty. That's what he gives you. But when you're not creating half chances, then what does it give you? And that's the question. And I'm not sure we know the answer yet.
Yeah.
It's been hard because obviously, you know, Norway is not, no offense to San Marino listeners out there, it's not San Marino, right? This is a team that has talent. It has Odegaard. It has a bunch of players that are very strong. Odegaard's not just the only player out there. There's a bunch of very good players on Norway. And for whatever reason, when this translates to the national team, we're not seeing, right? We're not seeing this with Haaland. And I think it's a fair point, the Champions League as well, because he's a player who, even during parts of last season, right, the rest of the team carried him in a sense, right? So that's what gets tricky about this player. It's when he's on, and he's literally something that we've never seen before. But he'll go quiet sometimes, and that's the part that's a little bit tricky.
Yep, I think he's a player that does require a certain caliber of player around him, and enough of them to give him sufficient chances to shine. Because look at Norway. Norway has world-class players on that team.
Yeah.
They have, 3 in their starting lineup alone are world-class players that any national team would love to have on their teams. One of the best midfielders in the world in Odegaard, obviously Haaland up top. They have a beautiful lineup, but he's not doing much there. He disappears for an entire 90 minutes for Norway. He's an interesting player in that he will look like the best player of all time for a couple weeks, and then he'll look like our favorite player from the U.S. national team, Jesus Ferreira, for other weeks. So it's kind of a fascinating range of performances from our boy Haaland.
I don't know if our international viewers even know who Jesus Ferreira is.
They
the fact that Jesus Ferreira and Erling Haaland have come into the same video is shocking.
The reason is Jesus Ferreira scores 4 goals against the Dominican Republic, and then he'll not have a shot on goal against the Netherlands, which on a much larger scale, Haaland suffers from as well.
I feel like it's like when you're looking for analogies that don't exist and you're just trying to make comparisons. I mean, there's no world in which those two players are even in the same sentence. I'm not sure where Jesus Ferreira is in the conversation versus Haaland, but he's probably in a different universe, maybe a different galaxy. I don't know.
Dimension, I would say.
Yeah, dimension, maybe. Yeah. Certainly, it's insane to have them in the same conversation. But it's hard. The reason we're having this talk is because I think Haaland is so good. Because he's better in many ways than any striker we've seen in how efficient he is and how he's able to convert chances they seem so standard, right? And it happens so quickly. Pass in the box, powerful rifle, upper corner, done. It's stuff we haven't seen, but then that's why the question marks are there, because a player as good as he is to disappear like he does sometimes, it's really baffling. And we'll see this season, because I think he had a good year in his first year, great year. Last year, he disappeared at times. Now it's the third year. This is where we shall see.
Yeah. So I think let's see how Erling Haaland does moving forward. We'll keep a close eye on him. But of course, for those who haven't, something just fell off of Roy's wall just now. That's a good segue. That's a good segue to what we wanted to talk about. What we want to talk about next.
That was Erling Haaland against Real Madrid, basically, right there. He just falls off disappeared. He was there, and then suddenly you feel
that's what it was. Damn, it's Erling Haaland practicing. He lives next door to me, by the way.
Erling Haaland
practices against this dividing wall. He'll shoot against the wall. And he keeps knocking my crap down. It's unbelievable.